Welcome back to a special edition of Six Boroughs Sports, your home for New York and South Florida sports. Before we get started, I'd like to please remind everyone to like, comment, and subscribe. We're trying to get to 100 subscribers by the end of this year. Thank you so much. Freaking Mets did it. They freaking did it. They got Juan Soto. They stole him from the New York Yankees. I was pretty shocked. This doesn't happen. The Mets don't get the big free agent, especially when the Yankees are going after him, and especially when the money was that close. I was really surprised. You know, being a Yankee also too just gets you like other endorsement money, which probably would have gotten him even more money. But it looks like he believes somewhat in what Steve Cohen and the Mets are trying to do. I'm really impressed with the Mets. It's a ton of money, and people are like, oh, they overpaid him. They overpaid him. Yeah, you guys are just salty. I've seen a lot of salt from Yankee fans, even like Dodger fans. They're like, oh, we Otani's worth so much more, and Otani is, but at the same time, it's like, okay, you Otani was gonna go to LA. Like, so I didn't get that comparison. And Juan Soto wanted the most money possible. He said that. And also never understood the whole argument for, oh, he's not trying to win, he's just in it for the money. The Mets were in the National League Championship Series and they gave the Dodgers a harder time than the Yankees. They just need to shore up their pitching, which they they can make a few more moves and really do that. Clay Holmes is a good question mark, and we got to see what Senga has after a full off season of recovery. But this is huge for the Mets. This is a game changer. Their lineup already is pretty impressive with Nimmo, Lindor, Vientos, and now Soto. Even Starling Marte, who had a great postseason, by the way, he just needs to stay healthy during the regular season. I do see the Mets going after like another position player. They might re-sign Pete. Um, they they could go for another outfielder or a third baseman or a first baseman. They have some options. Vientos can play first, um, but I love it. I love the lineup hitting wise, and this was a big move. I kind of feeling that this was going to happen. Like everybody was going to like, oh, he's not the greatest player. And it's like he's one of the best hitters of all time, and hitting is one of the hardest things you can do. So I'm going to take him. If I can get him, I'm going to take him. Um, in terms of the Yankees, they can get some good players. Like they can get Teoscar Hernandez and um, maybe Max Fried and shore up their pitching. It doesn't fix all their problems though, because they didn't have Soto last year, and they didn't even make the playoffs. And they pick him up and they go all the way to the World Series, and they gave up prospects for him just for him to go to the Mets. Usually, and in the past, that has happened where the teams give away the star and then they re-sign him. Um, this wasn't the case. So, but Soto wasn't deceitful or trying to hide his intentions to Yankee fans when he or Yankee ownership when he said at the end of the season he's like every team has a shot. Now not every team has a shot because like the Marlins and Rays and like uh, Seattle Mariners weren't going to give him like $700 million, but if they had the cash, they had a shot. And I just think that he was honest. But I think it's ridiculous when people say, "Oh, he doesn't want to win if he goes to the Mets." The the Mets are the Mets are willing to spend as much as the Dodgers, and they can and they don't have to defer it. That was another thing that was really impressive. The Mets don't have to defer all these payments. the Dodgers are going to be paying players like when they're entering the Hall of Fame. Like, they're going to be paying Otani. Like, Otani has a pension with the Dodgers. And so at least the Mets have that where they're not like killing themselves and their future selves. But now the question is the Mets got to win. They did they put all the pieces together. They have to win. This contract is pretty ridiculous. 15 years, 760, and there's more bonuses and incentives to get it up to 800. It's not my money. I'm glad he's a Met. I was planning on going up to New York this summer and going to a Mets game. Those ticket prices are going to be insane, but they're the big show in town right now. Um, but yeah, the year of the grimace and all the fun stuff. Um, they're not a fun story anymore. They're expected to be a top dog kind of team. Um, they might not even win the division with the Braves hanging around and Phillies hanging around, and um, I don't even think the Nats are going to be that bad for that long. I could see them making a step in the right direction with all the prospects that they've had, the prospects that they got from Juan Soto, and that also kind of sucks for them. They took some stray bullets from this because he didn't get to go to the Yankees, and now he's in your division again, playing against you. They got Bryce Harper and Juan Soto on division rivals. That's pretty rough. I don't know a ton of Nats fans, but I'm not saying that the Nationals don't have fans, but I'm sure they do. But yeah, that's pretty crazy that happened to Nats fans. The other aspects to this that I just found like really interesting is all the Red Sox hype. I For a little while I thought he might be a Red Sox. I thought the Red Sox might have threw the kitchen sink to try to get him to kind of make themselves relevant. I don't know how serious their offers were, but they were pushing that narrative on the the internet and stuff. Not so much as the Mets. I mean, the Mets were the favorite in terms of like they could offer the most cash. The Yankees are the favorite in terms of they just stay the course with the current team. They made it to the World Series. They didn't look great in the World Series, but that's one other thing with the Mets too. They're like, oh, the Mets aren't trying to win. Our best player can produce in the playoffs. I'm not even like taking a shot at Judge. He just hasn't done it yet. I'm not saying he can't. Well, he started to towards the end, but then he made the error. But Lindor, can perform in the clutch moments now. I mean, he's proven it with that Braves game, and then that grand slam in the Phillies series was absolutely phenomenal. So yeah, we have a proven star that can perform in the clutch. I mean, even Viento's got some pretty big hits, and he's a really good hitter. We just need to get Alvarez on the same page, but yeah, I was kind of surprised that the Red Sox came in out of like nowhere to be like this dark horse team. I was a little worried about Toronto because I thought Toronto might just do something crazy. But when you really think about it, he's not going to Toronto for two reasons. Number one is it's Toronto, and I'm not like taking a shot. It's like you're playing baseball in the United States. If you're a top tier player, you're going to play baseball in the United States. Number two, which also plays in the United States thing, you're going to be paying a lot more in taxes if you play for Toronto. So it just didn't make sense, like financially. You would lose money. Like you'd have to replace all the money that you would have had to pay. And you have to pay a lot of taxes in New York City, don't get me wrong, but in Toronto, you have to like convert it and then there's this whole thing. So, but yeah, the Canadian taxes I think, were definitely a factor too. But yep, the time is now for the Mets. They're not done. They got a few more moves they need to make. If they want to try to win a World Series this year, the Dodgers are still going to be the Dodgers. And that's the other scary thing about the Dodgers. They had a lot of injuries, especially to starting pitching, and they were pretty dominant all the way through the playoffs. But we'll see. It's another season. Things happen. But the Mets are made a big play to make it to the World Series. And the last team to pick up Juan Soto ended up going to the World Series. So I'm very excited to see what the Mets can do next year. And I just want to end the video with a shout out to Florida Gator legend, two-time Super Bowl champion, Kadarius Toney. He does it again. He muffed the punt. We're gonna end the video on that. But I want to please remind everyone to please like, comment, and subscribe. Once again, we're trying to get to 100 subscribers. Thank you so much, and we'll see you at the next video.
When he broke one for 65 yards in the Super Bowl down in Arizona against Philadelphia a couple years, didn't go for a touchdown, but he could. Oh my goodness! Now he's got more explaining to do on the sideline. That is recovered by the same guy he threw the football at. Oh, Skoranek.